Good morning, mate. You all right? Friday. We made it. Last day of the week. You can hear my mates here. Hang on. Fucking chickens, boy. It's Friday. Yeah, man. Friday. Friday, lovely boys. Yes, you is allowed a pint. Right, so it is Friday. We did make it. Off to go get the steps in. Long day today. Tonight, I'm going to see the architects in town. Taking the lovely lady. Oh, no, not the wife. She's working. She's got an event she's doing. So, I'm taking my 6-year-old daughter to her first concert, which is a metal band with 20,000 people. I've got some earplugs and we're in seats. Should be sound. What a gig, man. What was your first gig? Mine was Blur at G-Mex when I was 12. And it got cooler pretty quickly after that. It was Oasis that was second when I was 13. But yeah, Blur were cool for a minute. But yeah, Blur was my first one. I think 6. And obviously it's the architects in it, so she'll probably be saying hello to Sam and the rest of the band and that as well at some point. So not only is your first gig metal, but you actually go and get to meet the band as well. It's pretty cool, that, isn't it? It's cooler than probably most of our first gig stories. So taking that, and her first words were sort of thought, she's into rainbows and unicorns and stuff like that. I don't know if it's a bit of her. So I've shown her some of the videos, shown her what the concert was. Her first word to me when I've shown her was, am I allowed to scream? Yeah, that's kind of the point, I reckon, yeah. So she was like, yeah. And then we played some more music videos. And I'd never told her, I'd never shown her. She's like headbanging, whipping her hair back and forward. And I was like, sweet, just created a kid that's into metal. Taught her how to do the devil horns. So yeah. Now, I like Sam. I like the architects. But it ain't my go-to easy listening. My easy listening is a little bit of country, a little bit of Zach Bryan, a little bit of that sort of stuff, or Oasis for a sing-along. I do listen to the architects. At the same time, I listen to like Metallica and stuff, and that's when I'm lifting weights. Like Sam's literally on my playlist. Well, today's deadlift day, right? So he's on my playlist for Friday, because Friday I do deadlifts. I don't know what it is about the music that makes me want to go and get into that sort of stuff. Anyway, that's not what you're here for today. You're here for that sweet, what's a go on in with the transfers, the takeovers even. So, boy, yesterday, got up, we saw that alert going on with Turki Al-Sheikh, saying that United are in an advanced stage, negotiations about a takeover or an investment. I think it was the exact wording that he used. And then like tea time yesterday, it was all boshed. And then by like late on in the evening, it actually emerges that some details come out. Now, I always say to you, don't know, when it's transfers and things like that, once you start getting the details, it's on, like Donkey Kong. Now, when you start hearing stuff like, he comes out and he's like, hey, he's doubled down on it, if anything. He's not denied it, has he? He's come out and he's gone, wasn't chatting shit, but it ain't anyone from my country and it ain't me. It's some fellas from the UAE. plus some United legends have been consulted about it, which I had a bit of a stab in the dark. I had no inside info on it. I had a bit of stab in the dark yesterday about whether or not there was a likelihood that Cristiano Ronaldo, and that was literally me going 1+1 because he was based in Saudi, and he'd also said he would like to own United one day. That was literally me doing some quick maths and going 1+1 = 2. Now it turns out that like absolute stab in the dark might have hit something. Might not hit the person we were aiming at, but it sounds like it hit something. So, what other United legends are based in the Middle East? There's only 2 others that I know, on top of Cristiano Ronaldo. And one's Rio, and one's Uncle Pat. And I know both of them quite well. Have I sent a text out and gone, oi, you involved in this consortium? Yes. Have I had a reply? No. Do I expect a reply that's the truth? No. But you got to ask, innit? What if I got a reply and it was the truth? Would I tell yous? Don't know. But the truth is I haven't had a reply. Now, like I said yesterday, it's interesting. It's interesting if it's Rio, it's interesting if it's Uncle Pat, it's interesting if it's Cristiano Ronaldo. I've never met Ronaldo, so I have no idea, you know, the depth of his feeling about the club. Certainly wasn't happy that he went running to Piers Morgan to chat shit, but it is what it is. One thing you would know is if Cristiano owned a club, standards would be set. Standards would be set in terms of the physical preparedness of the players, in terms of facilities. Ronaldo's also an ambassador, and I'm not sure if he's an investor in Whoop. You know, this little fella thing, which is hidden under my shirt, it won't come out. This thing. I've just switched over to the 5.0 with the, is it the MG setting? It's got blood pressure and ECG on your heart, as well as all the other stuff that Whoop does. The one difference I have noticed, so I charged this up Tuesday morning, and it's still on 80% and it's Friday. The old one did not last anywhere near this long. Oh, there we go, we've got a reply. Rio says he don't know who it is. Like I said, is that the truth? Don't know. But I had to ask the question, right? See if Uncle Pat just sends me a voice note going, I love this game. Because that's likely, innit? But I'll tell you what I do know about both of them. If it was both of them and or Cristiano, I know that the persona that they have on camera is, it's them, but it's an on-camera version of them. And I think both Rio and Uncle Pat, when you sit with them and you talk properly with both of them, they both have a far serious side. Look, they were both fucking genuine world class. At one point, Rio probably was the best centre-half on earth. And Uncle Pat's in the conversation for being the best left-back the Premier League has ever seen, as Rio is for the best centre-half. They've both got trophy cabinets that would make the most successful players on earth blush. Unmitigated legends, unmitigated world class, unmitigated superstars at the peak of their powers. Their persona that you see on air is a side of them. It's the side of them that I can see being such a positive influence. Sometimes you need things to be a bit more relaxed. Sometimes you need things to be a bit more of a laugh. You can't just be fucking serious. Imagine sharing a dressing room with Martin Keown all the time. Fuck that. You need people that have got edges to them, that can sometimes have a bit of a laugh, play a bit of a joke, take the piss out of you a little bit. Cheerfulness in the face of adversity isn't a military sort of doctrine for no reason. It's because it fucking helps. But they have a serious side to them and a serious edge to them. And they know what good looks like. And yes, that doesn't mean that either of them would be fantastic managers. That doesn't mean that either of them would automatically be good directors of football. But they do know what good looks like. And it's one thing recognising good from the outside and one thing being able to enact it. That's why maybe Jason Wilcox is a better director of football than he was as a player. Maybe he's not. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's gone and got the experience at City. He's doing whatever he's doing at United. I'll tell you what it does make him. Makes him more fucking qualified than Ed Woodward and Matt Judge. All the rest of the fucking clowns, Richard Arnold, etc. before him. You know, imagine thinking a Premier League football career qualified you to work as an investment banker when you retired. So why the fuck would an investment banker think they could run a Premier League football club? Do you know what I mean? Sport and the things that matter in sport are so different to virtually any other business. If you've got a web designer, and he's a fucking good web designer, you can get another good web designer. You might not be able to get another good centre half. You might not be able to have another director of an academy that is able to instill the correct sort of things. You know, and I know you can't just go back to the old ways all the time. But when you look at the men who raised both the class of 92 and then the sort of 2000s onwards generation, which was still a successful generation, the likes of your Danny Simpsons, your PKs, your Johnny Evanses, your John O'Shea's, that ilk. That was the people that was responsible for that. People go Fergie, but it wasn't really. The people who had the most contact time with them was Eric Harrison and sort of Nobby Styles. And then it was Warren Joyce. Now obviously Salford took Warren Joyce to be assistant. I don't know where or what he's doing right now. But Warren Joyce, from what I could gather, United at one point, I think it was probably just before Ollie. So it was probably still like Louis and Jose-ish, maybe. You had Warren Joyce in the reserves and you had Kieran McKenna managing the under-18s. And what Warren Joyce would do was almost militaristic. He's a fucking stoic, hard, unruffleable motherfucker. They used to win things with the reserves, but also he used to create an environment where those players were tough. Because to get into the Manchester United first team and then deal with the scrutiny, the pressure and the expectation that comes with being a Manchester United first team player, you've got to be tough. Being fit ain't enough. Being skillful ain't enough. Being talented ain't enough. You've got to be fucking tough. And I think sometimes those are the traits that you have to go into. Mental toughness. What do you do when the going gets hard? Do you focus or do you fold? Do you fucking crumble? And how do you develop mental toughness? Because I'll tell you this, there ain't a single fucking 6-month-old baby out there with mental toughness. Not one. There's only one way to develop mental toughness, and it's through the confidence of doing tough things. Once you've done one tough thing, you go, I can do this. And then you do it again, and then you fucking up the levels, you up the intensity, you up the distance that you have to go, and you just keep fucking dragging people into the fire. And those that can't handle it get fucking burnt. And those that can get forged into fucking steel. And it's the same as anything. Like, military training is fucking tough. It has to be tough. It's not a fucking Make-A-Wish Foundation. It's not a let's give everyone a fucking opportunity thing. There was something in the papers last week about a corporal or a sergeant that's been up at a court-martial because he found some trainees drinking in the block. Now, drinking in the block in training is not allowed in their accommodation. That's the block. So in training, you're in 5 or 10 man rooms. Obviously, you have to keep that room fucking immaculate. And there are certain rules and things that are and aren't allowed in there. And drinking in there is one of them. In fact, I think there's a couple of times that you get to have a drink in basic training, but in the accommodation isn't fucking one of them. Although, you know, the day you pass off, there's usually a little bit of drinking going on, but no, it's different in this celebration time. So these recruits are found drinking, I think on a Friday night. And in the court-martial hearing, he's charged with making them iron kit, do change parades and show parades until 3 in the morning. And I think everybody who is an actually fully trained soldier read that and went, fucking and? That's a court-martialable offence now. I wouldn't have a career. A change parade. This only happened once, I think, to me in basic training. You're standing outside in your 3 ranks, all 30 of your platoon, and they'll find something they don't like. Someone's not shaved, someone's kit isn't ironed correctly, someone's got a belt on wrong, something like that. They'll just find something. They might not even find something, but they'll fucking tell you they found something. And then they'll be like, right, outside here in PT kit, you've got 2 minutes. Now you've got to remember, that room of yours is immaculate. When 30 people charge in with 120 seconds to get completely undressed, completely redressed, and completely back outside again, do you think they do it neatly? Do you think they put their clothes away neatly? Do you think they just fucking hoy them around all over the place? Yeah, it's the latter. Then everyone's back outside breathing heavy, like, fucking hell, how do we manage to do that? And then what happens is, the sergeant who wasn't there walks into the accommodation and goes, what the fuck has happened here? He walks outside and he goes, no fucking way are you lot leaving that accommodation like that. And you're like, oh shit. So then it'd be like, right, back inside, you're in drill kit now. We're doing fucking drill, this is not acceptable. You've got 90 seconds to be outside. You fucking steam in, you steam back out again. Now, again, you ain't had time to make it all fucking neat and tidy. Or what they might have done is they might have said, fucking start crawling. You start crawling, now you get covered in shit, go get changed. Now you fucking crawled all the shit back in, so now the lobby's covered in shit, and you're coming back out in drill kit. And then someone else will walk past, the platoon commander will walk past and be like, no fucking way. Do you grot bags think this is an acceptable environment to live in as soldiers? And then before you know it, yeah, now you're getting show parades because you're covered in shit, your accommodation's shit. But the thing is, what it's teaching you is attention to detail. It's also giving you fucking impossible tasks. The idea is not that you get outside in 90 seconds. The idea is that under pressure, you still have attention to detail. And it's almost like a rite of passage, a thing that you have to kind of go through. You're not meant to pass it. And so that's a change parade. A show parade will be like, right, at 1700 or 1900, you lot as a platoon needs to be formed up outside the guard room in 3 ranks, perfect, all in the correct kit, all completely ironed, everyone's as they should be, shaved, everything, and you'll get inspected. Now, if you fail that inspection, what do you think they do? I think they go, hey, at least you tried. Do they fuck, son? No. They'll be like, right, back here in an hour and actually fucking pass it this time. And it teaches you group accountability because 29 of you might be perfect. And then one lad's got one boot with a scuff on it. So what does it teach you? It teaches you group before self. It teaches you fucking teamwork. Yo, you can go in, iron your kit like a fucking razor, get back outside and you're like, I'm sorted. But that's not the point. That's not the teaching they're trying to put into you. The teaching they're trying to put into you is fuck yourself. Let's get the team ready. So when we march down there at 1800, slam your fucking tabs in, and go and report to the guard commander, and say, 9 platoons outside, formed up ready for inspection. He comes out and he goes, good fucking job, troops. That's what they're trying to teach you. Attention to detail. Team before self. And actually there's a lot of fucking ties in with that when it comes back to football. What can I do that actually moves and improves what my group are doing? Not just what can I do that benefits me, that makes me better. And maybe that's what we need at Carrington. And maybe that's why the likes of Warren Joyce were fucking so good for this football club. Because him and Eric Harrison instilled mental toughness, discipline, and a team before self attitude into those players, which carried them on and helped them become successful. From what I can understand about the club at the moment, is because so few academy players make it, one player making it to the first team every single year would be like the most successful academy on earth. So instead of trying to chunk and develop whole squads at a time, United and probably every other academy on earth almost has 19 of the 20 players in a squad to try and help develop Unicorn Kid, Hollywood Kid, that one kid that they think actually might make it. Is that the wrong ideal? Is that the right ideal? Well, I'll tell you what one possible knock-on effect of that is. The entitlement of that kid. Now, he might never get told you're the Hollywood Kid. He might just think he's another one of the players in the squad. And I think if he isn't told that, that's the right thing to do. But sometimes you can just sense it, can't you? Sometimes maybe he doesn't get bollocked as much for not tracking back as the other winger does. And everyone starts to recognise that. And do you know what I think that would breed? Entitlement. When I look at the end result of what some of our academy products have had levelled at them, it is only some, it certainly isn't universal, is that actually maybe they've got a little bit of a sense of entitlement. And if it's not just them, actually it's something that's endemic across the sport, is that a bit more of a consequence of the way academy football has gone? Don't know, it's food for thought, innit? I know we're meant to be talking about the takeover here. But yeah, UAE, it isn't the state, obviously, because they already own Manchester City, so that's a fucking win. So I'm sure there's a handful of very wealthy individuals in the UAE. And like I said yesterday, and like I've said a million times before, I could not give a fuck. There is a massive difference. And people might say, look, everyone who's a billionaire in whatever country is connected to the government in somehow. You could probably say that about Jim Ratcliffe in the UK government. He's a fucking knight of the realm. Technically, that's fucking pretty connected, isn't it? No, and I don't know enough about them other countries to say whether someone is the fucking cousin of, the blah, blah, blah of. It doesn't matter at the end of the day, because it isn't the state. Whereas with some of the clubs, it very much is the state, regardless of how they try to hide it. And I don't want Manchester United to be state-owned. Although there is maybe at least an acknowledgement, not an acceptance, but an acknowledgement that how do you compete if everybody is state-owned and you're not? It's a valid question. I think Manchester United could, if it wasn't for the debt that the Glazers hung around our neck like a noose. But it's one of them, innit? There's your sheep. We've seen the chickens. We've seen the sheep. We're up before the enemy. We're getting the steps in. We're knocking the fucking day down like dominoes. We'll get the school run done. We'll get off to work. I've got about a Brazilian videos to make today. We'll get them fucking chalked off. We'll get ourselves all good to go for Blake's first gig tonight. So I'll throw some of them on Instagram if you can have a check out of those. Let me know what you thought about the podcast I uploaded yesterday with Nick Dunn. So Nick's a Red, he's a United fan. That alone should give you the impetus to go watch him. But if you want a story about fucking Somali pirates and being locked up in an Indian jail for a crime you didn't commit, and like I put on Instagram yesterday, podcasts don't usually make me cry, but sitting in front of Nick as he poured his heart out yesterday, I did. So it's a powerful, emotional podcast, and it's an incredible listen. And if you want to go check it out, just search Howson Podcast, and it's the episode that came out yesterday with Nick Dunn, episode 10. Somali pirates, Indian jail, and an absolute fucking shit show of an injustice. Definitely worth go checking it out. And if you do check it out, please just drop us a comment. It really helps with the algorithm. We've got some unbelievable guests coming up, and honestly, I'm just enjoying the process of doing the podcast. It's so different to the other content that I make, and I like it. And it was literally just on the back of, around about January this year, always thinking about the different content to do, hence why we ended up with these morning walk videos. Where can we get efficiencies? Where can we add value? Where can we do something that's a little bit different? Always try and think out the box. Often copied, never beat. But there's a couple of people that have massively inspired me. One is Chris Williamson with the Modern Wisdom podcast. And what I've taken from Chris, apart from the fact he's done 1 billion with a B views, and he's just recorded his 1000th episode with Matthew McConaughey in a set which is out of this fucking world, let me tell you. Now, what I've taken from Chris is that he's gone quite hard on the cinematic angle of it. He's really tried to make it incredibly well shot. And the episode that we did with Nick yesterday was the first one that we uploaded in 4K. I don't know if it's the first video I've ever uploaded in 4K. There's a good chance it might be. But it took him 7.5 years to get to 1,000 episodes. And when we decided to do this podcast, obviously there's a few things that we put into place. One of the things that we put into place was we got Amy as producer. She currently does 2 days. As that podcast brings in AdSense revenue from YouTube, we will move her up to 5 days and she will become the full-time producer. But we do a video, a debrief with her on Patreon, which is going really well. So if you want to see literally behind the scenes of the stuff that we do, that's over on Patreon. It helps support the channel. But we brought Amy in, and one of the things that we set as a target and as a goal was we don't need this to sort of like be profitable as a podcast. What we need to do is to prove the concept. So we've given it 100 episodes. We've uploaded 10, so we're 10% of the way there. 100 episodes is going to take us 2 years at the upload rate of 1 a week. So we're not going to second guess this. We're not going to look at this and go, oh, is this fucking profitable? Anything along those lines at all. We are literally just saying, we're going to send it for 100 episodes, and then we'll have a look back and we'll reflect. Because I remember seeing a podcast off Chris where he said it took him years and years to get momentum, and I think he said more than half, he's done it for 7.5 years, and this is maybe about 9 months ago, He said more than half of the accumulation of his views have come in the last 12 months. So let's say it was 6.5 years in, he said that. So for 5.5 years was only half of his views, and then the last 12 months was the other half of his views. But because podcasts are evergreen, because Nick's story isn't changing, it isn't news like the stuff that I do here, they're what's called evergreen. They can last forever. You can go and watch that in 5 years or in a month. So what happens with podcasts is they just trickle up views. They don't bang like a Manchester United transfer might do 100k views in a day and then nothing ever again. Or I'll do a Fulham preview and it'll do numbers for 24 hours and then 1 minute after that game kicks off, it'll never do another view. So doing the podcast in the manner that we're doing them, they're just a complete 180 degree flip in terms of how content is made on YouTube for me. Obviously there's loads of people who already do it. So I find it a real interesting sort of mental break as well. That I can sit down and, I'm trying to talk less and less and less. I am very aware that I talk over people on the Paddock podcasts and on the Brew and things like that. I'm trying to be completely different. And I think I'm getting there. I'm certainly not perfect when it comes to the podcasts with these people. But also, like, I will do the Brew later, and I don't even know what we're talking about until we sit down. And even then, I'm not even sure what we're talking about. I think Webby might be on with us today. And even the Paddock podcast, I don't know. I don't get briefed on what we're talking about before I sit down. So I'm finding out as you guys find out. But because it's a subject that I am fucking drowning in every single day, I know what we're talking about. I know what I'm talking about, although some will probably disagree with that. And I can give opinions. Whereas if I'm sitting in front of you and you've got this major traumatic incident in your life, I owe it the reverence and respect to actually do some fucking research on you and do that. And that takes a while. So with the capacity of videos that I'm doing at the moment, that podcast will probably only ever be one a week. We might record 2 in a week, but that's just so we can actually have some weeks. Like this week we haven't recorded one, and last week we didn't record one. Because the hardest thing about getting that podcast done, it's not the research, it's not the edits, it's not nothing like that. It's just getting the guests at a time that's convenient. But we've got loads booked in, but a lot of them are just a little bit down the road. So it's one of them. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap it up. Let us know your thoughts. And if you had to pick one legend, if you had to pick one legend to be an owner of Manchester United, who would that be? And it's Friday. Did you get wins or did you get losses? Did you move the needle this week in a forward direction, or have you gone backwards a little bit? Drop it in the comments, let me know. Keep stacking the wins. And I'll be back multiple times throughout the day. But if you're just tuning in for the morning videos, I'll be back again in the morning. So, homework for you. Go check out the podcast with Nick Dunn and go subscribe and go drop a comment on that video. Check out Patreon if you want to support the channel. Let me know what legend in the comments and get the win stacked. See you in a bit.